What's going on, guys? Excuse me. It's my dinner time, so I'm just finishing up my dinner. Got my sweet tea. All right, guys. Welcome to Karate Talk. I believe this is our third installment of Karate Talk. And I figured, been giving you guys all these demos, been talking about my insights on things within the martial arts universe, culture, whatever you want to call it. So I figured I'd give you guys an insight on my history in the martial arts. I've always loved it. I've always loved martial arts. I don't remember a time where I wasn't pretending that I was a karate master or anything like that. I can remember being in daycare I can remember being in daycare at like 4 years old, trying to teach somebody how to throw a side kick and shit like that. Excuse me, un momento. So, I remember being in daycare trying to show people how to do side kicks and stuff, even though I didn't know what I was doing at that point. But I always loved martial arts, and I think the core of it comes down to I grew up watching Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles and Three Ninjas and anything of that nature, like most kids who grew up in the 90s did. I was no different. I didn't actually start my training in the martial arts until I was about 9, 10 years old, somewhere in that area. There was a guy that my dad knew. He worked with him. Was a 7th degree black belt. And I've been trying to go to classes, since for about 3 years at this point. There are a lot of different places that my mom would tell me about and say that we would go check out, but never got around to doing. So I was like 9 or 10. My dad says, "Hey, there's a dude I work with. He just opened up his own karate school. He's a 7th degree black belt. When you come down for the summer, then if you have good grades, I'll sign you up." So I went to visit my dad for the summer. My parents divorced when I was really little. So pretty much my entire life, as I remember it, is just living with mom, visiting my dad for the summers and stuff. So it's not sad. It's just how I grew up. It's no big deal. So I went to visit my dad for the summer. He signed me up for this dude under this guy, and I was mesmerized. I walked in the karate school my first day. He was doing some bag work, and I had a preconceived idea of what everything was going to be like because I'd like watched Jean-Claude Van Damme, Chuck Norris, and stuff like that. This dude was quicker than anybody I'd ever seen. He was fast and making loud pops on the bag. He was fast. So walked in, I was already slightly intimidated, but he had a really good sense of humor, so I was already slightly intimidated at this character. But he wasn't very tall. I only stood about 5'5", 5'6". But he was quick, dude. And I remember my first class didn't really go that well. I had this, like I said, I had this preconceived idea of what I thought martial arts was and what I thought martial arts should be about. And turns out I was completely wrong. I thought I knew how to punch. I was wrong. Thought I knew how to kick. I was wrong. He was basically correcting me on a whole bunch of stuff that I thought I already knew. I thought I was all that and then some. So kept training with him for that whole summer. I got up to my yellow belt, and then I had to go back home. And then I made the decision to stay and live with my dad. And I trained with this guy for another year or so. And then because of his job, he had to move. So I was no longer training with him after he moved. Then I switched to boxing because my science teacher at the time used to be a pro boxer. You can look up his stats. His name was Barry Audia, although otherwise known as the Pennington Gap Pounder. You can find his stats on the internet. I've actually looked him up a couple times just out of curiosity. He was my science teacher. And so I did boxing with him from about November of 2008, somewhere in that area, November 2008 to about May or June of '09. And then I went back home. I came back to Oklahoma for the summer to visit my mom. And then I started high school, and I decided I wanted to take a break, and I wanted to focus on doing school sports. So I was running cross country. I did wrestling. I ran cross country in the fall, my freshman year, and then I did wrestling because it was, at that point I was kind of missing the martial arts, and so I figured, all right, wrestling. I'll give wrestling a try. I didn't enjoy wrestling. There's something about wrestling dudes in onesies. I wasn't hugging up on dudes with tight onesies and stuff. I think doesn't really. I didn't like it. I was finding excuses not to go to practice. That's how much I didn't. I was finding every little detail not to go to practice. And then come to find out, we had a massive snowstorm and school got canceled for a good amount of weeks, and they were still having practice, and I never knew. So they eventually kicked me off the team because I missed so many practices. But I never knew that they had practices over those weeks that school was out for the snow. So did wrestling, did soccer, went the summer, did some stuff over the summer, went back, ran cross country. I don't think I did a winter sport my sophomore year. I don't think I did. No, I didn't. And I ran track for a little bit. Then my junior year, I think all I did was run cross country. And my senior year, it was right before my junior year. I was on vacation, and we went up to go visit some of my dad's friends that he had worked with that had moved. And we went to go visit them, and this was my first experience with Netflix. And I was going through watching all these like old karate movies and stuff like that, and it like really, really made me miss doing karate. So I got back home. We got back home, and I started talking to my dad. I really want to do martial arts again. And he's like, well, if we can find something, we'll talk about it. But to our knowledge, there wasn't anything else that was relatively close. I mean, there was a couple schools we knew of that were about 45 minutes away, but we weren't really willing to drive that far at that point. And so my whole junior year of high school, still wasn't doing martial arts. But keep in mind, this whole time that I was, doing other stuff, I was still practicing what I already knew. Martial arts was still a big, big, big passion of mine. I just took a break from classes. I was still practicing the moves that I already knew. I was still watching karate movies on a daily basis. I just took a break from taking classes. So I was still practicing what I already knew. I just wasn't taking any classes and moving up in rank. When my first instructor left, I had made it to green belt, which in his system was the third belt. He went white, yellow, green. So I'd made it to green belt. And then, like I said, went all the way through high school. My junior year, I started thinking about doing it again. And I wasn't really the best student in high school. It wasn't because I wasn't smart. It was just I didn't apply myself. And so, like every year I was in high school. Well, I wouldn't say every year in high school because it went till junior year that I really, really wanted to start doing it again. So my junior year, my dad's like, all right, get A's and B's, start doing karate again. We'll even drive to these 45-minute away places and check them out. Wasn't making A's and B's. He says, all right, you bring me. He says, I'll let you get away with some C's. You bring me A, B's, and C's, and we'll start looking at these places. I still wasn't bringing home A's, B's, and C's. I was bringing home like C's and D's because I was lazy. I'm not even gonna lie. I wasn't doing homework. I was acing tests because I knew how to do the stuff. I was just lazy and didn't like homework, so I wasn't doing the homework. And then finally, towards the end of the year, my dad's like, you know what? If you are passing your classes, all of your classes, at the end of the year, I'll start signing you back up this summer. So I worked my butt off to get all my classes up to passing. One class I actually should have failed because when the grades were averaged in, I was still failing by half a point. But the teacher was really nice and went ahead and gave me the half a point. So I really appreciate that. Thank you. So I passed all my classes my junior year. My dad took me to a couple different schools. There was one that I really liked because it reminded me of my first instructor. My first instructor, what he taught was a mixture of 7 different styles. He taught karate, judo, jiu-jitsu, aikido, and weapons. And this new school that we went to one school, wasn't really, I really don't remember a lot about it because I wasn't really that interested in the way it was handled. But we went to this other one, called the number, talked to one of the instructors. He seemed really cool. Went to a class. They invited me to join. So I said that we went and talked to another instructor. The instructor that I talked to on the phone was on vacation whenever I first started going. So I talked to another instructor, told him, hey, I talked to so-and-so. All right, just join right in, do what you know, we'll teach you what you don't. I was like, all right, cool. And this was mid-July, and I remember this because my second class that I ever went to with this particular organization was on my younger brother's birthday. That's the only reason I remember. So went to visit this class. Joined first 2 classes were free, so I had 2 free demo classes. Thought they were pretty cool. I went to continued to go, and what they did was they were really cool. They didn't make me start at a white belt. They were like, all right, what we're going to do is we're going to evaluate you, see what you do know, and see where exactly you fit in our ranking system. And this made me feel a lot better because the grand master of the school, he took me pretty much under his wing, and he went and he would coach me on things that I needed to work on. But he said my technique was really good. He was helping me brush up on some stuff because, like I said, I wasn't taking classes, so I was a bit rusty. So he was taking me under his wing, teaching me some stuff, helping me work the rust out of what I already knew. And then after about 2-3 months of going there, a couple of the instructors had a little dispute. I don't know all the details. And basically, one instructor said, you know what, I'm not dealing with this anymore. I'm going to go form my own school. You guys continue to do what you do. And they were fighting over students, basically. One of the instructors got a hold of me on my Facebook page, left a paragraph like that long explaining, how this guy was wrong and he's always been wrong and all this other kind of stuff that really made no sense at all. And then the other instructor, he messaged me on my Facebook, said, hey, call me when you get a chance, here's my number. So I called him when I got a chance. I called him, and he explained the situation to me, and his story made a lot more sense than what this other guy was saying. So he's like, I'm going to leave it up to you because you're still new. This was a really big decision for me because one, I was new to the school, and I felt a lot of pressure because I was basically being molded into being one of the star pupils. I don't want to say star pupils. They knew I had potential, and they were both really eager to have me because I showed the most potential. And so it was a really big decision because this instructor over here was the one that I've been working with for the past 3 months mostly. But this other guy, this was the guy that I had talked to and got me interested in the class, and so he left me we talked about it. He said, I'm gonna leave it up to you. If you decide to stay with him, no hard feelings, but I'd love to have you join my class. And so during this little break, they had kind of postponed classes until things got settled down. And during this time, there was a girl that I went to school with. Her stepdad was a 6th-degree black belt, and they invited me to come over to their house and work out and train and stuff until things got settled. Because they had been to a couple of the classes and seen how it was going, so they kind of knew what I was dealing with. And so I went over to their house and worked out and trained. I'd probably say about a month, 2-3 weeks, maybe a month, somewhere in there. And where was I going? But so after a little bit, my final decision basically came down to this guy that I've been training with for the past month while these classes were kind of on hold. This guy that I've been training with was included into this guy's new school's instructing staff. So that was what made my final decision. If this guy's going over here, I'm going to stick with him. I like this guy. This other guy's been good to me. I'll stay over here. And I still consider them to be my parents' school. And that was where I did most of my training from October. It was like October 6th, I think, of 2012 was the first class at Tri-State Freestyle Martial Arts. And where was I going with this? Oh, so I trained there from October to December, January-ish. Then I made the decision to move back home to Oklahoma after living with my dad for 5.5 years, 4.5, 5 years. So we did that and came back here again. Took a little bit of a break because there wasn't really anything around. There was a couple of schools that I had seen here and there. And then from January to May, I didn't do any. From January 2013 to January to May of 2013, I really didn't do a lot of martial arts because I was focused on finishing high school. And there was another karate school in town I decided I was going to check out, but I really couldn't afford because I didn't have a job. So after I got my first job, I decided to check them out. They were primarily a sparring school. And I liked it at first. It was really cool. I did it. But the catch was I could only do it once a week because of my work schedule. Whatever days I worked one week, I was off the next, and vice versa. So, and he had class on Tuesday and Thursday. So one week I can make it on a Tuesday, the next week I can make it on a Thursday. So, did that for a while, and then some stuff happened, both to me personally, and I just kind of lost interest in everything, really. So, I quit going to that school. Like I said, one, I had some issues internally with myself that I had to deal with, and two, me and that instructor just kept butting heads, and I didn't agree with how he was doing things after a while. So I quit going. Couldn't really afford to do a lot of classes, so I took a lot of free demo classes at different taekwondo schools in the area. Did that and just kept working on what I did know. Eventually did get my black belt through home study in 2014. And then really I didn't do a lot. I mean, I trained one of my ex-girlfriend's little brothers at home privately for a while. That was my first experience teaching. I wasn't a very good teacher. I'm not even gonna lie. I sucked at teaching. And then uh, he decided he wanted to, kind of take a break from it, partially because of how I was as an instructor at that point. So wasn't really, I wasn't really holding anything against him. And so then, back in April of this past year, I started teaching. I had my first official karate school. Well, I wouldn't say karate school, karate class. I taught a karate class at a church 2 nights a week, and I had a pretty good class. I mean, at my most, I had like 9 kids, but I only had like 3, 4, maybe 5 that showed up on a regular basis. But I enjoyed working with the kids. I love the kids. I still do to this day. And then the church that we were training at, they got a new insurance policy, and we were not covered under it, so we had to stop doing classes there. And I was really sad because I loved working with the kids. I was figuring out who I was as an instructor, and so I was having a lot of fun with it. But so yeah, I had to quit. I still practice. I still practice when I get a chance. Um, I got a lot of other martial arts projects in the works. Y'all shall know about them shortly. And actually doing these videos have actually got me in contact with some really cool people. Shout out to Christine. I'm just going to take a minute right now. Christine, you are probably one of the coolest people I've ever had the pleasure of knowing. You are fantastic at what you do in terms of your martial arts, in terms of all your videos. You are just extremely talented and extremely sweet girl. You are amazing. Thank you for putting up with me these past few months. That's miraculous in itself. Um, just when my class was going, you were probably our biggest supporter in terms of our moral support, and I appreciate that. I appreciate you giving me all the insight that you do, and thank you for being there when I need somebody to talk to. And so, just shouts out to Christine. You can find her on YouTube. Her YouTube name is Cookie. You can find her at OCD Perfection. Find her on Instagram, Twitter. Anything she has, go follow it. She's a really fun person. That's really all I can say. I enjoy talking to her. She's really, really cool. Y'all need to go check her out. That's basically my martial arts story in a nutshell. I know I kind of got sidetracked a little bit, but that's my martial arts story. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Thank you for tuning into this installment of Karate Talk. I will try to have another karate video. I'm going on vacation this weekend. I'm not really going anywhere special. So I might try to do one on, I have like a total of 5 days off next week. So I will try to do one next week if I possibly can. I don't know exactly what I'm going to cover, but I will try to think of something, and I shall let you guys know. So thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate all the love and support you got. If you have any suggestions for my next topic of Karate Talk, comment down below. If you like what you see, hit that subscribe button that's down there. Like I said, comment down below if you like what you see. For those of you who are new to my channel, most of my videos are martial arts related. I do have a few that cover a bunch of different areas and stuff. And so, like I said, if you guys just want to hang out with me every little bit, just follow me on YouTube, follow me on Twitter at Braden White MA. I will leave links in the description for my. I have a couple different fan pages on Facebook that I created for you guys. I have my personal Facebook page. I have an Instagram. I'm not really on Instagram a whole lot. I have a Twitter. I'm on Twitter and Facebook pretty much every day. My Twitter is at Braden White MA. My Facebook fan page is Braden White actor/martial artist, because I am an aspiring actor. My Instagram is at Braden D White. And from any of those, you can probably find a link to my personal Facebook page. I don't want to put a link in the description for that one because it is my personal Facebook page. So anyway, if y'all guys want to follow me, hang out with me, see what I'm up to, that's where you can find me at. So without further ado, I think I'm going to close this one out. Shouts out to you, boy. Holla, whatever. I don't know. Shouts out, holla at your boy. Twisms.